Yes, on a separate matter.
If you wish to move a motion to take note of the answers you wish to take note of.
Yes, I wish to move a motion to take note of an answer given in question time today. Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy or Mr Deputy President. I was very happy, in fact, today to ask a question on behalf of OurSay. OurSay was launched during the 2010 election campaign with the goal of using new technologies to connect the public with decision-makers, with lawmakers. It was founded by a team of young Australians from across the political spectrum and doing more and more work abroad, including in India, the world's largest democracy. In fact, the Prime Minister herself took part in an OurSay event last year when she answered questions during a Google Hangout. The People's Question project aims to close the distance between citizens and the halls of power by inviting elected reps to speak directly to the issues raised by the community. And I was happy to ask the question, Mr Deputy President, because, in my view, a question time is broken. What we get is the usual parade of predictable questions from the opposition, questions that are aimed more at trying to get a grab in the 6 o'clock news bulletin, more aimed at spinning a line than, in fact, aimed at probing the government on issues of public policies. What we get from the government are non-answers, obfuscation, and we rarely get the questions being addressed. We get Dorothy Dixes, we get insults, we get bickering. Question time in this place is broken, and it is with great pleasure that I was able to bring in the voice of the community into this chamber. Now, I know that members of the community who did ask and vote for this question would not have been happy with the answers given by the minister today. What they want to hear is a respectful, honest debate, and they want to get some sense that the government is taking these issues seriously. It's no surprise that the public do want to see a change in approach to the issue of drug law reform in this chamber, and it's an area where public common sense and the conventional wisdom of the parliament are at odds. That's not true of all politicians in this place. In fact, I had the pleasure of standing next to Mel Washer, the Conservative Member of Parliament, and with Rob Oakeshott, an independent, to discuss this issue and to call for a dispassionate look from the Productivity Commission. And in fact, we'd like to see the issue referred to the Productivity Commission. Usually this is the domain of retired politicians. It's amazing how much braver, how much more courageous politicians become on the issue of illicit drugs when they leave the chamber. And unfortunately what we get from our sitting MPs is usually deathly silence, or worse still, cheap populism. Now, I'm very happy to stand here and say that we do need to tackle this issue. We are currently paying an enormous price for our current approach. We're getting people from the former UN Secretary-General, for example, Kofi Annan, and Alan Jones, now both together saying that we need to take this on and we need to reform what we're currently doing. Unfortunately, there's no sign of a change in approach. We've seen the response to the issue of emerging synthetic drugs in the news recently, and of course it's business as usual. Let's blunder ahead with the same failed policies, and let's, in the end, expose people to more harms, to more harmful, dangerous substances. The threshold decision here is, are we prepared to take this issue on as an issue of public health? Are we prepared to say that this issue needs to be dealt with through the health framework rather than simply rattling the law and order chain? That's what the threshold decision needs to be made in this chamber. In fact, in New Zealand we saw a very different change in approach to the issue of emerging synthetic drugs, where we're going to see the impetus on the industry to actually prove safety. And that, I think, is an important step forward. We have an opportunity to do that here in Australia rather than going down the same failed road, and yet at this stage it looks like politicians on all sides are not prepared to do what the public health community, what the drug and alcohol sector say, which is let's invest more in treatment, let's invest more in harm reduction, and let's start treating this issue as it must be treated, as a public health issue rather than as a law and order issue.
Question is